Welcome, welcome, welcome. Gather round wherever you may be. I guess people really don't gather around when they listen to this podcast. We're probably just simply an earbud in their ears. Probably most likely in someone's eustachian tube. Probably where we're coming at them.
Eustachian? I'm not sure. No.
Look it up.
No, I'll look it up, but I don't think it's in their eustachian tube.
Going down there. I guarantee it's taking that road.
Well, it's.
Hey, you know what road the Mountaineers are going down? They're going down Bowl Road, Hoppy. Because you know why, Hoppy?
Why?
Because this is the bowl-bound episode of Three Guys Before the Game, episode number 333. If you don't like the title, it wasn't me. It was the dean. Anyway, just go with it. Mountaineers are bowl-bound. Lincoln Riley is USC-bound. Mountaineer soccer team, Elite Eight bound. Mountaineer basketball team, Bellarmine bound. Mountaineer volleyball team, NCAA bound. We're so bound up we don't know what to do. Welcome in, everybody. Three Guys Before the Game. Senator is here. You heard the dean. And this podcast is brought to you by the unbelievable, caring folks at Comax Business Systems, trying to help your business and your network to stay clean of bad people and bad malware and viruses. Your full-service Konica Minolta dealer that does so much. Go to Comax Business Systems, ComaxWV.com. By Caesars Sportsbook. Download, get started, risk-free bet of up to $1,001 in free bets. By Burdette Camping, the only warranty forever RV dealer in all of West Virginia. Visit them at BurdettCamping.com, located in Winfield. And by West Virginia Game Changer, go to WVGameChanger.com. Last Monday, we did a show called Win-Win Weekend, and that was good.
Yeah.
That was good. Guess what? What is this? The sequel, Win-Win Weekend?
A lot of winning going on.
A lot of winning going on. West Virginia goes into Kansas, and it was a business-like 34-28 victory over the Jayhawks. West Virginia up 21-13 at halftime. Thought, okay, this is good. And then within a matter of 2 minutes and change, the Jayhawks had locked the game at 21. And you could sense it. You could sense that old momentum had jumped onto the Kansas side. You said, okay, now what? Well, the Mountaineers responded. Letty Brown took off, 44-yard touchdown run. West Virginia 28-21. West Virginia gets a stop. Casey Legg comes back, 38-yard field goal. You're up 10. Casey Legg does it again. You're up 13, 34-21. And then the late score, 1:43 to go. Jalen Daniels on a 3-yard run makes it 34-28. Winston Wright recovers the onside kick. Ball game. West Virginia wins. The Mountaineers are 6-6 on the campaign. They finished the league at 4-5. And now West Virginia will wait until next Sunday to find out where it will be going bowling for the 18th time in 20 seasons. West Virginia goes bowling. So that's where we are. Basketball, winner over Eastern Kentucky. It was difficult. West Virginia in each of its last 2 games have run through the raindrops. Bellarmine should not be a problem on Tuesday. And then Radford, the Fighting Darius Nicholses, come in on Saturday. And then West Virginia's going to have a big boy challenge on Wednesday of next week when the Huskies of UConn come in. We'll talk all about that and more. Your text lessons and questions, text questions have come in. We also have a gift for those of you that are watching in. It was sent. Apparently some negative comments had been made by a listener, and now as part of the settlement, they have come in and offered this.
We clearly accepted pretty quickly.
We accept a lot of stuff. Yeah, we accept a lot of stuff. Okay, so that's the roundup of the show. Let's jump in, guys, and I don't want to spend too much time. I shouldn't say that. I don't want to make this all Oklahoma and Lincoln Riley, but my gosh, what a head-spinning story that baby is. Huh, Senator? Huh?
Well, remarkable, as earth-moving as Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC was, this isn't quite that, but this is big. You just don't see very often coaches leave one Power 5 or one power program to go from another. If you're Oklahoma, you don't see your coach leave very often for another job. I think I read 1947 was the last time that had happened to them. But, hey, sometimes there's unintended consequences in things. You wanted to go to the SEC. You wanted to take all that money. You wanted to leave the Big 12. You wanted to negotiate in the middle of the night, not tell anybody what was happening.
Here's another late night negotiation you didn't know about.
Somebody else negotiating in the middle of the night and not telling you what's going on and leaving for riches somewhere else. But I do think, in all seriousness, so often it's about recruiting and ease of recruiting and where can these guys recruit more easily. And there's no question, Oklahoma in the SEC is the 5th or 6th best program, and it's a great program. It's an all-time program. It's an all-time brand, and they'll be fine. They'll go hire a good coach. They'll win some football games. That job's a lot harder sitting in the SEC than it was in the Big 12 from a recruiting standpoint, never mind the wins. Now he goes to L.A., one of the biggest brands in college football, one of the historic brands in college football, one of the most fertile recruiting areas in the country. He'd already been mining it. He had already been bringing guys from California to Norman. You think that gets easier when he's sitting at one of the premier programs in college football, and certainly the premier program in that league? Oregon has feasted on USC being down for a decade. Look out if you're Oregon now, because now this changes the power in that league. And if you're trying to get to the college football playoff, if you're trying to win a league, it's certainly a lot easier there at USC if you're Lincoln Riley than it is going into this new SEC.
Yeah, all those things are true. It is going to be easier. You don't see coaches stay at schools as long as they once did. Oklahoma, I imagine the Oklahoma fan base, because Saturday night they're furious with Lincoln Riley for losing Bedlam, and the next day they're saying, wait a minute, you can't go, you can't leave us. So they've had this emotional roller coaster ride. It's amazing how much really bad reporting there was about Riley going to LSU. I mean, there were stories that had him, Riley's, it's a done deal. Here's how much he's going to make. Here's how it's going to impact recruiting. I mean, they had him everything but what the living room furniture was going to be. And, he doesn't go. He doesn't go and leaves for USC. And I tell you what, I know that some coaches recently haven't had a lot of success there, but other coaches have. That remains a great job. Sometimes you don't think of it as much because they've been down. That's one of the top 5 jobs in the country, USC.
I agree with you, but they've been very Texas-esque since Pete Carroll lost. They've been banging around with multiple coaches. No one's brought anything to the table. Had to fire guys.
Bad
lack of success.
AD choices.
Bad AD choices. Not being relevant in the national landscape. They just made themselves relevant. This is a heck of a hire. You talk about, there wasn't a single list out there that I saw. All the people want to publish lists about this candidate. Lincoln Riley wasn't a candidate on any of those. Right? LSU, everybody wanted to put him at LSU, and Mike Bone, the AD, everybody said, he's going to go get Luke Fickell because he used to be at Cincinnati. And here he comes, sliding that one in there and getting Lincoln Riley. He's high-stepping today. Their AD's high-stepping. That's a big get for him.
You think when they backed up the Brinks truck, you think it beeped? Like when
multiple times.
It's just like, beep,
yeah,
beep, beep. Like, so, just keep bringing it back.
Just keep coming.
Just keep bringing it back, keep bringing it back. Pat Forty, when the USC thing, when they fired Helton, he said Lincoln Riley should be the guy. Way back when. But you're right. As of right now, no one had
anybody's list.
No one had this going. No. But way back when, Forty did say.
What this shows you is exactly what Texas and Oklahoma showed you, that this was a close to the vest search, that he didn't want anything out there. He wasn't going to leak to any of these guys to say, here's what I'm going. I want to go get this thing done and see if I can do it. Just like the Texas thing was. I didn't get out because nobody wanted it out. This didn't get out because nobody wanted it out. They wanted to get their guy, lock it up, and get him on a plane and put him on the ground.
And a lot of this reporting is that, sports reporters, and there's a lot of good sports reporting, but a lot of it is when there's a big coaching vacancy, okay, who's the list? And it's a lot of times it's the same people, or agents are floating guys' names to try to get a better deal wherever they are. And then you reach out or you hear from a big donor, and a donor says, boy, I'd like to have this guy. And then you say, well, this guy's got the inside track. And it's just a lot of stuff just a lot of stuff that flies around that is just wrong and people get all excited about things. And then you got to wait and see what happens.
So here's the other part of this, and then we can move on to West Virginia stuff. What's LSU doing down there?
Huh.
What are they banging around doing? They were the first to get rid of their guy, right? They made this a while ago, theoretically, to get out in front of this. There's been how many schools that have hired somebody, and LSU still doesn't have anyone?
Let me ask you a rhetorical question. Are you surprised? Are you surprised?
Well, I know what you're saying because the way they've handled their business in multiple sports over time, no. I am surprised from a standpoint, I've said it a million times, Les Miles and Ed Orgeron have national titles at that school.
Right. So you need a really kooky character, don't you?
Yeah, but it's also a heck of a job if those two guys can win national championships.
So why won't they just go get Lane Kiffin and bring it over there? They love crazy. They love chaos. My man just went to Ole Miss. He got a double-digit win season. Just go do it. Just go do it. He would be not perfect. He would be perfect times 5. He's a little bit off. They're a little bit off. Perfect fit. He might not eat grass like Les used to do. He might not talk like Shrek. But just let him go be his thing. That's perfect.
I do hope for Matt Campbell's sake, his agent was able to get in there with my guy Jamie Pollard and get an extension before any of the carousel stopped. Hope he went and got some more money.
Yeah, it's all fast.
Because he's been in every job.
Here's the thing about we'll get off
He's
this. I
not going
promise we'll
anywhere.
get off this. I promise we'll get off this. But here's the thing now. The margin there is no margin for the next coach at Oklahoma. Lincoln Riley was winning 11-ish games, right? Like the next guy in, you win 10, you win 9, it's a horrible hire, isn't it?
And good luck.
Yeah.
I mean,
good luck in that league.
Look at you know what people are referring to now is Bo Pelini won 9 games a year. They couldn't get him out of there fast enough. Sure. I know he's got some downside too, but they have never been the same.
No, absolutely.
So you just have to be careful. Tennessee's still trying to recover. They're better this year, obviously, but still trying to recover from those kinds of decisions.
Those are some of the unintended consequences that pop up. Oklahoma is less of a job now than it was this time last year. It just is. It's a harder job than what it was, which makes it less of a job.
Yes.
More money, less of a job if you're a coach looking at that.
Because they're not
going
to go. I mean, they won. How many years did they win the league?
6 straight until this year.
Yeah. So you're going to win the SEC 6 straight?
Probably not.
No.
Ever?
Super great move by Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
Career-wise, perfect move. All right, let's move ahead. Give me your take on the Mountaineers.
Really, really impressed. A lot of different things. We'll get in the weeds. Just overall, really impressed that you went from 2-4, looking like you did against Baylor, heading into the off week. A lot of people saying season's over, can't recover, and bouncing back with a 4-2 run, winning 2 with your backs against the wall to get yourself into a bowl game. I think just a tremendous amount of credit given to those guys over there and a lot of respect that they didn't lay down, that they fought the rest of the season, showed some improvement, got better in the face of a lot of negativity out there. I think they did a great job down the stretch. That's an impressive effort to finish how they finished.
I agree with you 100%. That thing could have really been bad. You were sitting at 2-4.
No question.
Let's face it, that could have been a 4-8. That could have been a 3-9. That could have been an absolute crap fest. Instead, they went 4-2. You got a chance to finish your year at 5-2.
Real quick, I'm sorry, Hop. Real quick. The other thing too, leadership has been a debate all year. Who are the leaders over there? Do they have leadership? Is it young guys? There's some leadership, and if it's not outwardly visible, there's a lot of guys with a lot of intestinal fortitude that could lead themselves and say, "Hey, we're going to get ourselves in here." So, for something that was questioned a lot during the year, I again, ton of credit that they could rally themselves.
Yeah, all that plus just. Kansas in a lot of ways is still Kansas. I mean, the defense is just awful. Daniels, he's got some skills. They got a couple guys. Lassiter, the receiver, their running back was out, but they played hard. I mean, credit them. They play hard. So Leipold has them still motivated. And if you're West Virginia, all you were trying to do was win the game. You're not looking at style points. You're just trying to get, on the road, win the game, become bowl eligible. Made a couple mistakes, obviously. So you got the job done. And that was all I think you were setting out to do was just win the game, be functional, and that's what they did.
Yes. I think it's every time this offensive line can go out there and I don't care if they're playing anybody. Every time that offensive line takes a snap, it's one snap in the right direction because that group's got the chance to be together for the next 2 years. And so their confidence now is really good. And there's going to be that whole offensive line will play in the bowl game, right? There's not anyone's going to opt out of the bowl game. Those are younger guys. So that's a really big deal. And And it sets the table again. What were we talking about pretty much midway through the season? Who's the number 2 running back? Who's the number 2 running back? Tony Mathis runs hard. And his late run, far sideline, when they had him stopped in the backfield, he had little Marshawn Lynch in him there, didn't he? He just turned it on, did a little different thing. No,
it was like a bar fight. It was like a bar fight. He had 5 guys coming at him. He just said, "Oh, is that right? I'll take all of you on, and then I'm going to take off and run out the front door. See, I'm going that way."
Yeah, so that's encouraging. Yeah. That's very encouraging. And then obviously you've got Johnson and Anderson for next year. Who will compete, and so you got that.
And
room.
you went to the transfer portal and picked up a former 4-star that was at Clemson. So your room for a position that all year we've said, who's the number 2 guy here? You're losing a heck of a back in Letty Brown. Who's it going to be? I think you have a little more life with that after seeing Mathis. To your point on offensive line, let me just give you one number here, rough number. We talk all the time about the weird COVID year and how it helped, and you got guys. Let's go to Zach Frazier for a second. So technically, if he wanted, he just finished his true freshman year.
Yes.
Because last year didn't exist.
Yes.
True freshman year. He's over 1,500 snaps played.
There you go.
Played over 1,500 snaps at your anchor offensive line position. Yes. So we've seen Wyatt Milam as a guy that's gotten better. Nestor has played well this year. Zach Frazier's one. We've been on him since before he arrived. 1,500 snaps. You think that's made him better? You think that's helped him down the road to take 1,500 guys? And he basically just finished his true freshman year.
And there's a chance, fingers crossed, he'll be an All-American this year. You know, he's not going to be a first team. There's a kid at Iowa. But, you know, even if it's a third or a fourth team, as he said, he's still a baby. He's setting himself up to be a Remington winner and setting himself up to be a consensus All-American.
Because you'll be on everybody's list next year. Absolutely. And Wyatt Milam's got a chance to be a true freshman All-American as well. You know why? There ain't a whole lot of freshman tackles.
Correct. And you go in and dive in those PFF numbers. He's been coming.
Oh, yeah.
He's been coming. Imagine that. Playing and getting reps and getting used to the speed and adapting to the strength and size of this level has helped him as he's moved throughout the year. And what have you seen with the running game? It's gotten better, and you took advantage. Listen, Texas is bad against the run, and Kansas is god-awful against the run. But what do we always say in these situations in football or basketball? When you're playing something that's god-awful, what should you do to them?
Exploit them.
Smash them.
Exactly.
And you just did. You went for 260 against a bad run defense.
Totally agree.
That's exactly how you handle that.
Exactly right. And we see that in basketball this time of the year. You know which teams are going to be good no matter who they're playing, because really good teams right now, they beat people by 40. That's what really good teams do. So it doesn't matter if you're playing a team that's 295 in the RPI. You hammer them mercilessly. If you struggle, it just is a red flag to say you're going to have problems here.
Here's the stat that jumps out that I think illustrates that. Second half on Saturday, West Virginia threw the ball 5 times, lined up and ran it 30. Speaking of Oklahoma, that was like old school whisper. We're going to line up. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to run the ball. Hey, everybody on the Kansas, we're going to run the football. We're going to just tell you we're going to run it, they couldn't stop you.
How long has it been since we've been able to do that? Rich was here when we would just go like, hey, how many you want to bring in the box? 6, 7, whatever it takes. Just bring them over. Still going to come off the ball and just run it down your throat. That is the That's the most defeating thing that you can do to a team when they load the box. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to still come out there and just crack it.
And so that, to me, is the progress. I don't care how bad Kansas is at that. For West Virginia's run game, which had been so beleaguered for the last, 3 years, but the last 2 years in particular, to be able to do that against anybody, that, to me, is a step forward for this program.
Agreed. Defensively, all Josh Chandler-Samito does is get interceptions late in the season. Remember, he had one on the Liberty Bowl, seal the deal. He gets two. He gets 2 late in the game. And another thing, jumping over real quick, Winston Wright, he had a 3-touchdown drive.
He did.
Did you know that?
Correct.
Had a 3-touchdown drive. I just happened to I was walking out of the airplane, Deggy, Winston Wright, and me, and we're just like chatting. And it's it's fun. We always make these guys out, like that they're so far advanced. But like those guys are going like, we get food on the plane. We get food. You think we'll get chicken? That's where they are. So like sometimes we just hype this thing up. They're just young guys, man. Like, man, I'm hungry. You think we'll get chicken on the plane? Yeah, I think we'll get chicken on the plane. Okay, we're good. Anyway, I said, you caught 3 touchdowns in that one drive. He goes, oh yeah, I guess. He goes, I guess I did because got called back and the whole thing like that. So happy for him.
I thought that the Chandler Samito, the first interception too, he caught that thing. Tony, that thing was coming in there. That was a rocket coming in there. He caught it like a wide receiver, like reached up and grabbed it.
Well, that's
you normally don't see a linebacker make that kind of play.
He did that, and then the second one, he just kind of took it from St. McLeod.
Yeah, he
I
did.
think
Took it
St.
from
McLeod was
McLeod.
all giddy freshman there. He's playing great. Played 7 different positions the other night. Great, I got a pick. Here it comes. And Samito said, give me that. Just give me that. I'm going to take my second one here.
So the deal on the first Chandler Samito interception was it was the same exact play they scored against West Virginia in the first half.
Okay, yeah.
And so he saw the same formation. He said, okay, you got me once. I'm playing this thing inside. Okay, throw it. Boom, see you later. And we talked about regressing to the mean for Jalen Daniels, their quarterback. He'd only thrown 1 pick.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was due.
Yeah, he was. That's what happens.
And they got him. So really, just makeshift defense for West Virginia. Give those guys a ton of credit because Josh Chandler Samito, while he led the team in tackles, you have St. McLeod, who tied with 8 tackles in his second career start. You had Sean Mahone, who played 54th game, most games ever by a Mountaineer.
Mm-hmm.
And then then you've got Daryl Porter, who's a baby. He finished 4th on the team in tackles.
He made some plays, too.
Yes,
Not
he
the
did.
pass down.
Talk about making plays. How about Hakeem Mesidor? On that 1 sack he had,
Huge.
just chased him down.
Yeah. Blowed it up.
He blowed it up. Tracked him down like he was the lion and Daniels was the wildebeest.
That was on the 4th down play.
On the play, yeah. And then that he got him twice. He got him not just once, he got him twice. You're right, on the 4th down, they tried a little inside handoff. He smoked him there, but he also had a sack. It wasn't on a 4th down play. But and he's still a kid. So, yeah, looking at these names, a lot of these guys will be back next season, and that's an encouraging thing. You know what else we've been taking for granted all year? Although we missed one. Casey Legg. Like, that's a nice little thing to have, boys. Yeah, okay, here comes Casey. Popped it, got it. Popped it, got it. Now, the one he missed was 44, and it was into the wind. That wind's weird there. Those flags, the streamers on the top of the goalpost, they are dancing a little, but like not too far higher than that. They've got an American flag, and that thing was just straight out.
Really?
Oh, yeah, it was windy.
Because it's on top of the hill.
It's kind of, the stadium's under, but then you're up, and there's a lot of heavy wind at the top of it, and I don't know how that affects flight. But anyway, so he did his job. So now we wait. We get this team a bit healthy and better, and then we find out who they play on Sunday. And then the question becomes, who doesn't play? Who opts out of the game? And you just kind of wait and you say, all I'll say about this is this, Senator. I know where you stand on that, and I understand why you say it, and I get it. All I'm saying to you is this. I bet you, if you ask Darius Stills today, are you happy that you played in last year's Liberty Bowl? He would say, absolutely, I'm happy that I did. That's all. And we know some guys won't play, but I'm just saying, I just finish what you start.
Well, I'm not going to sidetrack this, but I could also give you 100 examples of guys that blew their knee out and got hurt that didn't. So guys make their own decisions.
Greg Hunter reported
Lincoln Riley opted out too.
Yeah, he did. Greg Hunter reported on the Sunday night show that I think he asked Letty Brown, and the indication was that Letty Brown was not going to play. And Hunter said, and I tend to agree with this. I mean, I like to see them all play, but I understand it. And with Letty Brown, you could also say, young man, you've taken enough punishment. I mean, that guy has taken more hits over the last 4 years than he's like an offensive lineman. He's taken so many hits. So you wouldn't blame him. He thinks he's got a pro career, maybe not, but I certainly wouldn't blame him. He's done his part. Okay.
Yep. You can't say anything. I get it. And that's that. Okay. Basketball. World champion Mountaineers against the Eastern Kentuckies. Senator, takeaway.
You got to win. Good job finding a way to get a win, because that could have very easily been a loss. Credit Eastern Kentucky. They played well. That press bothered West Virginia. They did a great job on Sean McNeil. So West Virginia finding a way to win. Seriously, that's my takeaway from that, because that's not a game you can lose. But you better quickly find a way to get somebody else that can help you score. I tweeted something out earlier today, a graph that was really well done. I think it was JR Graphs that did this, about usage nationally across all teams. Taz Sherman's usage rate, it's a good visual representation of it, is like way at the top of the chart away from everybody, getting used more than anybody else in the country in terms of how much a team relies on one guy. They have got to be able to find a way to get multiple scores, and that's not a surprise. We've been saying that now for months leading into this season. He's been fantastic. But if he doesn't give you a career high, do you win that game? And how often can you count on Taz Sherman getting a career high to get you wins? You've got to find a second and a third reliable scorer when teams say to you, we're taking Sean McNeil out. We are not letting Sean McNeil get shots, and that's where the scouting report starts, right? Taz and McNeil are your scorers. The other team is going to identify those and look to take Sean out. Who else can step up and help Taz Sherman score?
I think that's the challenge because Taz Sherman, you can't get a career every night. But let's say the opposing coach says, okay, Sherman's going to get 24, he's going to get 25, whatever. But don't let McNeil beat you. Don't let Jalen Bridges beat you. You know,
Right.
don't let somebody else get into rhythm as well. And then what? Then what do you do? So I think that gets to West Virginia having limited ability offensively.
You got to keep coming. Now, Malik Curry stepped up the other night. He gave you 16. So can Malik Curry continue to be a guy that can get to the basket? He's been impressive so far in the first few games.
Yes, he has. They don't win that game probably on Friday if he doesn't do what he did.
Yeah, you needed a second scorer. He provided it.
I think whatever Malik Curry can give you, super good, okay. But I do think the long-term success of this team this season comes down to Isaiah Cottrell and Jalen Bridges.
Mm-hmm.
Those two guys, and it may be unfair as far as Isaiah goes because he hasn't been here and played a ton yet, but he's got to go. Both of those guys have got to go. They have got to be constants. They can't be Long-term success, you got to have those guys going.
Well, you say that because they're two of your pro-level players right there. The skill set fits making money playing basketball wherever that is. So, yeah, the faster they can get to the point where they say, I'm one of the best players on the floor, give me the ball and get out of the way, the better off you're going to be, and you're going to need help on the offensive end, clearly.
Would you agree with me? I don't think for those two guys it's physical right now as much as just a mindset and a mentality.
Oh, no question.
I don't see the mentality.
And that's hard for Isaiah Cottrell right now. I get that. It's even hard for Jalen Bridges when you're looking at guys like Taz and McNeil who can shoot it, who have been there to do it. So at what point can they get the confidence to say, it's time for me to go? I can play at this level and can dominate a game. Give it to me. Let's go.
Yeah, they have to, that has to happen. That has to happen because the storm clouds are coming and they're coming quickly. And if you're not ready to go, this won't be good. All right, we got a lot of texts come in. Got some apologies that came in from some people. I mean, I don't know if the apology was needed or not.
Apologize to.
Well, we got a female demographic that's chiming in now, Hoppy, about some things that were said.
Calling us idiots?
Based upon that.
Well, we're self-actualized. Those things don't bother us.
Based upon that. Hey, reminder, wouldn't it be great? Surprised your significant other Christmas Day with an RV under your tree? I mean,
yeah, that would be a surprise.
Anything to say?
Might have to put it in the driveway. I don't know that it's
Yeah, I tell you this. You buy an RV from Burdette Camping Center, and Phil, Zach, the guys over there, will put a big ribbon on it. You can drive it into your driveway on Christmas morning and then just say, hey, honey, just look outside the window. There it is. Big red ribbon on a big RV. Burdette Camping. They're the only warranty forever RV dealer in all of West Virginia. You can visit them in Winfield or at BurdetteCamping.com. That's BurdetteCamping.com. 2 T's when you spell Burdette, both next to each other. Also, by Comax Business Systems, they're the people that provide a complete and free assessment of your computer system at your business place. They'll take a look at everything. Are you safe? Are you not safe? They'll come in and give you a complete assessment and say, here's where you're good, here's where you may have a problem. They're also a full-service Konica Minolta dealer, so whatever your business needs when it comes to equipment or networking look investigation, we call it a computer colonoscopy. That's what they'll do for free. And they'll check it out. Visit them at comaxwv.com, comaxwv.com. Do you want to start right off with this first here, the apology?
Well, sure.
This came from Vermont. Morse Farm Maple Sugar Works, 200 years of maple experience. 200 years. I mean,
It's amazing.
I mean, like Ben Franklin might have, had a treat from these folks. A little card here. Scopes, Dean, and Senator, please accept these as an apology for referring to you as the 3 idiots my husband listens to. Let's go Mountaineers. She lives in Alaska. Hoppy, you attacked them when they were on that New England Leaf trip, if you remember. And, this is thank you so very, very much. We do appreciate it. Garrett Sousen, who's a Morgantown native, and his wife, they were up in New England. Hoppy attacked him. But Garrett did say that his wife, when he listens to the podcast, said, why you listen to those 3 idiots? And so now she has sent us maple, my gosh. Boy, they smell. They are beautiful. Maple Kisses here, Senator.
Oh, nice.
These won't last long with Brad. I'll just tell you that right now. Maple Kisses from Montpelier, Vermont. Happens to be the capital of Vermont. Of course, you knew that. And thank you so very, very much.
It's kind of like a little taffy ice cream.
Yeah, a little taffy, which is
saltwater taffy.
Why don't you put 4? Oh, you're going right. You're going right in.
Wow.
He went right in.
I'm gonna go right in for 2.
People don't know this, but whenever Brad has like stuff like this, he can never just do one at a time. He always has to go multiple.
Self-control issues.
Zero self-control.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Those are very nice.
Okay, here we go. Texter, hi guys. My husband is a rabid fan of both your podcast and the Mountaineers. As such, and because I am such a nice wife, I am also a devoted listener. On your last episode, you posed the question, why does everyone's wife hate us so much? Perhaps it's because there isn't any part of your show that's just for us. It would be so wonderful if you had a segment or a recurring bit just for the wives. Some women may enjoy listening to podcasts about sports. I don't enjoy podcasts in general, and I'm actually a Gator fan, but some don't and may only be tuning in to support their husband's interests. It may be that all they need is some special attention in the form of a wife-oriented segment on your show to turn them into fans. Just an idea. Take it or leave it. Sincerely, Lady Mountaineer by proxy from Arizona.
We've been floating the idea of a wives' show. We can't seem to pull that together.
I'm all for that. I mean, I don't have any problem with that. I mean, I thank you very much. And maybe if you send us something from Arizona, that might become more of a chance that. No, I'm just teasing. Thank you very much, and tell your husband he has got unbelievable taste, not only to listen to us but to marry you, because I'm sure you're a very special person. This is Jim from Charleston. Tony, you may have stepped into something when you went on your soliloquy about the success of George Washington High School graduates. I went to Stonewall, and I'm a physician. My graduating class had another physician as well as lawyers and several PhDs. My children went to Capital, and they've all got advanced degrees and are successes in life. It's not just GW that has successful people who grew up in Charleston. Wonder if you touched a nerve with anyone else who texted, as there is a certainty a high school rivalry in Charleston. But we love you anyways. Double exclamation point. Thank you very much, Jim. By no means was that an intent to take a shot at any of the other high schools. I'm just saying, wherever I go and I meet these people, I say, where'd you go? GW. Where'd you go? GW. Where'd you go? GW. So, hey, Jim, seriously. All for you. Thank you very much. Stonewall, fantastic school. I know a bunch of Stonewall graduates. And congratulations. Not only you, but the kids, everyone doing well. Jason in Dallas claims he's a P1 listener. Hey, guys, about to walk 18 Thanksgiving morning after being reminded of the Tyke Smith snub. I'm 100% sure who should win both the offensive and defensive player of the year for Big 12 football and every other sport ever. Kevin Jones. KJ losing the player of the year in the Big East to Jay Crowder was, always will be, criminal. One of the biggest snubs, not only in the sports awards, but all awards. I'll never let it go. That's a bigger snub than Donald Sutherland not even being nominated for an Oscar for his performance in Ordinary People.
Nice Ordinary People reference.
As for the top 3 sides on Thanksgiving, initial reaction was all mashed potatoes, gravy, especially if you have the biscuits for scooping. But Brad pointed out the unsung heroes, deviled eggs. And I've been swung. 1A, 1B. Going to hire a SWAT team to guard mine so Brad doesn't get them. Little early nickname to this year's basketball team. But if their early attitude continues, I got one in waiting. We've been press Virginia. We've been, and maybe always will be, stress Virginia. Now we seem like flex Virginia or chest Virginia. See a lot of swagger from our guys early, and I'll think they'll eventually earn it. Just need some more reps together. Curry, Polycap, Kerrigan, fresh faces. Have to confess, I didn't realize Hoppy is his real name. I always assumed he just liked really hoppy beer, or maybe he was a hopscotch world champ. I also didn't realize the Louisville game was the first time you used your phrase, Tony. I was at that game, student section, so I didn't get to hear it, but so many fans who left early and snuck back into the game, packed into the student section. That was when Eric Wicks tackled Brian Brom. I jumped straight up, got stuck. I had to crowd surf my way out of the stadium. Several people, Hoppy, make reference here in the text to your name, so we'll wait on that. John in Los Angeles says, wait, why do we want to go to the ACC? The new Big 12 has 5 teams in the top 25, second only to the SEC. 3 of those teams are in the top 10. 2 are competing for spots in the playoff. The ACC only has 4 teams in the top 25, no teams in the top 10, no teams competing for the playoff, and their highest-rated team, Pitt, at 17, is ranked lower than our lowest-rated team, Houston, 16. I'm really optimistic about our newly constructed conference.
The conference looks good right now. The new conference looks very good.
It does. And, John, you do know that when the teams start playing each other within the league, we wouldn't have that many teams ranked because they'll beat each other. But your point is well taken. It's yes, absolutely. Football, I was really extremely low on the program after the Baylor debacle. I even sent a text in during the second half that I regret. However, in Neal Brown's only 2 full seasons, we have played our best football in late October and November. That is a major positive and something we can build on in the future. Basketball. EKU is a solid team. I believe they were picked near the top of a decent Atlantic Sun. To beat them with Sean and JB having extremely off nights, good sign. I know this team has many issues, but find me a team outside of maybe Duke and Gonzaga that doesn't have serious issues. Just look at Kansas. I believe we make the dance because of my faith in Huggs to get his team to play to its potential. Now one question. Is Taz Sherman West Virginia's best scorer since Deshaun Butler? Senator.
You know what you want to see from this basketball team? Similar to what the football team did. Right? Give it a chance to get better. You've got 30 games to play here. You've got a lot of new pieces and a lot of new parts, and we just mentioned a couple of them figuring out what their roles are. So let's see if this team can improve itself throughout the year and make a run at the NCAA tournament. I don't think that's out of the realm.
The team he's asking about is Taz the best scorer.
I know. Can I address what he said earlier?
Oh, okay,
I can only address something when it's asked as a question. I thought I could talk about stuff
on
the
podcast,
or just I can only
go ahead.
If it's a question, then I can't.
No,
respond.
I'll give you 4 minutes. Go ahead.
You can go. Go ahead. No, I understand. Go ahead. I'm listening. It's all right.
I don't know.
My initial reaction was he probably is.
Yeah, heck of a scorer.
Ooh, he scores.
He's also, it helps him, too, that he's coming along at a time. I think Huggs has done a great job with him. Just let him go, too.
Yeah.
Right? There's no handcuffs on him. So he's just able to go to, you're going to take a couple shots, and you're like, oh, what? Right? You just let him go because he can get a shot off, and he can score it from anywhere.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that is, as we've all seen through the years, Huggs, when somebody takes a bad shot, right, he's like a ballet guy. He just pirouettes, spins, gets him out of there. Oh, old Huggs, he let old Taz shoot that ball a little bit.
Yeah, good.
That's your shot, right?
Yeah, handling him great.
That's your shot. That's what you got to do.
Well, he can. With most players, what do you have to do? You have to get them the ball where they want it and somewhat open. Taz can create on his own.
Yes. And Malik Curry showing a little bit of that as well. Texter, Charlie from Princeton, first-time texter.
Oh,
listener
welcome.
Since episode 1.
Oh.
Thank you, Charlie. We do appreciate it. Letty Brown becomes the 8th Mountaineer with consecutive 1,000-yard rushing seasons. Would you confirm that my amateur research is correct? Here's the others that have done it. Artie Owens, Amos Zaraway, Avon Coburn, Steve Slayton, Pat White, Noel Devine, Justin Crawford, and Letty Brown.
Sounds about right. Would have to check.
He went on to say, I love every episode. Truly appreciate the time and effort put into this show. Thank you for providing great content for every Mountaineer wherever they may be. Let me see that. Texter. Blaine on the porch. Special time of the year, another bowl trip, hard-earned one for the Mountaineers. Dating back to 2000, West Virginia now 19 trips in 22 seasons. Remarkable. Has to be at the top of the percentages in the country. However, here's my question, Senator. Do we have more touchdowns scored in the bowl game or December hoops wins?
We can't answer that. I need to see the opponent first. I
was looking at the team stats for the whole season. Think about this for a second. I mean, West Virginia, we talk about the offensive struggles. Rush yardage, Brad. West Virginia, 1538, opponents 1552. Almost dead even. West Virginia versus their opponent. Passing yardage, West Virginia 3,083, opponents 2,641, so West Virginia had an advantage. Total offense, West Virginia 46-21, opponents 41-93. Average per game, 385 yards, opponents 349 yards. The statistics, well, I guess that's pretty even. I guess that does give you 6 and 6, doesn't it?
You're pretty even. Yeah, you're right there. Coin flip, couple of
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually bears itself out. That is a good number there. What's the texter's name that sent that in? That was a good number because you're playing 5 December games: Radford, UConn, Kent State, UAB, Youngstown State. Can you go 4-1 in those 5 games? 4 touchdowns gets you 28 points. That's right in that range of what we talk about West Virginia needs to do offensively. So that was a good question.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll get back to that one.
We got smart people.
We'll get back to that one. That's a good one.
Texter, while driving up the lovely I-79 corridor on Friday after a wonderful Thanksgiving in the Greenbrier Valley, I was catching up on Sportsline and Three Guys. My wife was cozily sitting in the passenger seat looking up cars we cannot afford, and I thought she was not really paying attention. In the middle of your discussion about paper clips versus staples, she goes, "Are these clowns really arguing over paper clips versus staples on a sports podcast?"
Another wife slam.
That's how you use clowns.
After I paused the podcast and told her the reference of clowns was spot on.
Mm-hmm.
I informed her it was a very eclectic podcast covering a wide range of topics for the well-rounded sports aficionado. She then says, "I find this hard to believe. This is the same guy that has to serenade his dog to pee." I informed her it was.
Appreciate her listening so closely, though.
Yeah.
Even though she thinks we're clowns, but thanks for listening.
In a serendipitous moment, you guys switched over to talking about the 4th down pass in the Texas game. My wife has very strong beliefs about 4th downs. She asked me to share with you. It is silly to punt. You automatically give up 25% of your possessions because you are scared of the outcome. You can only score when you have the ball. I'm not giving it to the other team when I have another chance to get a first down or to score. Needless to say, your podcast was a great way to make the miles fly by. I must run now. I am needed inside to sign papers at the dealership. Forrest and Heather in Morgantown.
West Virginia was 18 of 26 on 4th down conversions. Pretty good 4th down stat. Opponents were 10 of 24. The answer to that, respectfully, to the wife is sometimes when it's 4th and 9 from your own 36, from your own 25, you go, you know what? Let's kick this thing away and see what happens. Let's kick this thing away. Or if you're Oklahoma State, you go, oh, good, we get to punt, and our defense is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, she's on to something in the sense that there are those that are changing the mentality that has existed for a long time about going forward on 4th down. There's a coach or two out there that just primarily just play the odds. But, yeah, there's something to it.
There is, but, again, I think that's situational. That's tricky. Yeah, you do have 4 downs, but, sometimes it's just better to give up the ball. And you know what? The other team makes mistakes sometimes, too.
Yeah.
Give it back to them. They might screw it up.
Heather, I would say this to you, because I'm sure now you're intently listening, that when you do punt it on 4th down, there's very few plays that you can run that guarantee you about 45 yards. And that's what you do when you punt. Yes, you do give the ball back to them, but you also move the ball down the field, and you give your defense a chance to flip. So I hear you.
I think where you're seeing a difference in it is when teams are near midfield.
Yes.
Going for it more often rather than kicking it away.
Yes. Tony, I'm listening to Wednesday's podcast. I'll confirm. The audio skips. The texter mentioned it during the show. I've experienced those almost in every Three Guys podcast this fall. I went back and listened too, right where the person told us it skipped, and it did skip, which stuns me because the elite computer system that we use here, state-of-the-art equipment that we have here, would stun me if by chance our file would stagnate at times.
I think it's Adobe Audition that you record in.
Yeah,
I think it's the software that, because I've had that too, that occasionally there'll be a hiccup.
I mean, I don't know. We got to take a shot at Adobe. Brad, did you think that was called for?
Well, I think whatever's making it do it deserves a shot, whether it's Adobe or the computer system. Up here trying to deliver good content, least we can do is get the software or the computer to work with us. I mean, don't make it harder.
That's our philosophy. Don't make it harder.
Yeah. In-game text from Trey. I'm watching the Kansas game. It's mid-second quarter. I'm feeling good. Just wanted to pass along that FS1 must be a listener. They were able to fit West Virginia on the screen instead of W Virginia.
Yes, I noticed that.
Or the dreaded West VA for the show. Oh, and Hoppy, don't feel bad. I've had to pee during the podcast too. Really enjoy the show. I've listened to all of them. Listening's like hanging out with friends. Keep it up.
My man.
There you go, buddy.
My man.
You gotta.
Well, if there was any person that did not need that pointed out to them, it was Kirchhoff.
He knows. Hoppy's got
No, that's his thing. I mean, it's
West Virginia.
W Virginia, West Virginia, immediately pointed out during our broadcast.
Absolutely. Well, everybody's got a thing. That's my thing.
That's your thing.
Yeah. Hoppy's also got a new bladder buddy. They can go. Hey, three guys. Josh in Twin Cities. Time check is 10:02 p.m. No, I'm sorry. 10:02 left in the second quarter. Winston Wright Jr. touchdown stands on the third try to make it 14-6. Casey leg extra point. Not hard to imagine that this team would have folded after the holding penalty on 2nd and 4 or dropped the pass the following play. A case in point, better execution later this season. Yes, you're right.
But Winston Wright came back and made a play after he missed the pass.
Yeah.
Early in the season.
That was your point about scoring multiple times on that possession. Yeah. That's why.
But to his point, early in the season, those things were decimating.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, the 5-yard penalty against Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah.
When the ball's inside the 2. Couldn't recover from that. Had to get the 3 instead of the 7.
Now, one of the differences there, too, was that Deggy had time there, and he did a good job of looking around and finding a guy.
Yeah. Texter, Jake Beckley. Hey, Scope Senator Dean. First thing I noticed as soon as the TV broadcast was on, Fox did a better job than ESPN, spelled out West Virginia. Okay. Also, how come Letty didn't play the last 3 or 4 series? Great win. Glad to get bowl eligible.
It's hurting.
He was hurt going into the game, and he had done his work, and Tony Mathis was running so well, you didn't need to have Letty out there. I mean, he was fresh, put a fresh running back out there against a defense that was struggling, and that's what you needed to do.
I mean, Brown didn't practice all week, did he?
Very little. He was banged up.
Yeah.
Ben in Charlotte. So let's say Oklahoma's been working with both conferences to negotiate when they're leaving the Big 12 and heading to the SEC. Let's say they worked it out to leave after this season. Are they frantically calling both leagues right now to redo the deal and see if they can stay longer until they get their coaching and recruiting figured out? All these backroom deals going on. You just hate it for these poor Sooners, right? No, it is what it is. I don't think Lincoln leaving will have anything to do with when Oklahoma leaves.
Roy, you gotta be now. You really got to be recruiting against them. Call up those recruits. Hey, who's your coach going to be?
And I love the fact that
I heard they're going to run the option.
I love the fact that Bob Stoops is coming back to coach him because
pulling a Barry Alvarez.
I loves a Barry. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Barry, you come in there and coach the bowl game for whiskey
because he's taking a bunch of guys to go on with Raleigh, aren't they? Like 3 or 4 guys going.
Alex Grinch is leaving.
Reports there were a bunch of guys on the plane with him. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. How about that?
Too bad.
Roy in Lost Creek, now that the regular season is finally finished, can you 3 guys sum it up in one word? And he suggests some words. He gives us frustrating, humbling, perplexing. They all work for me, but I'm going to go with average.
I think it's difficult to do it in one word because it was like 2 seasons. It was 2 and 4 and 4 and 2. And I would, maybe manic. Up and down.
I'll go with close. I think you ended up a lot closer to where people thought you would be at the end of the season than you were in that Baylor spot. Because I'll still contend you could argue one of the losses is a scheduling loss by overscheduling, doing something that nobody else in the Big 12 is doing from a schedule difficulty standpoint, one. And then I think a key moment, we talked about all these coin flip games, Texas Tech and Kansas State. If you split those rather than go 0-2, and you look at it scheduling a different, I mean, you're potentially at 8 wins right now heading to a bowl game. Even if you just split and take out the scheduling part and you were 7, okay, that's about where you thought this team would be, 7-8 wins. So I think it ended up a lot closer to maybe what the preseason thoughts were than where it looked like it may end up midseason.
You know, there's a couple games you'd like to have a K-State back, like to have Baylor. You'd like to have the Maryland game back, right? Play that again. But
how about those turkeys? They're bowl eligible.
Well, when you look at this, so is Virginia Tech. When you look at this, and I know that a lot of people are going to say, okay, you're just making excuses, but it is a fact that no other Big 12 team this year had 2 Power 5 opponents in their non-conference schedule. None. Mm-hmm. Now, a couple had they had a Power 5 and they also played Houston. Well, Houston's pretty good. Or a Power 5 and they played Coastal Carolina, so that's pretty good. But no other team, Brad, played 2 Power 5 opponents in their non-conference.
Yeah, it's one of the great it's not even a debate because I think there's 2 sides that are right. I love seeing Maryland and Virginia Tech on the schedule. I am giddy that Pitt and Penn State are coming, or Pitt and Virginia Tech next year. That's awesome from a fan perspective. I also can see if I was Neal Brown and I'm sitting over there going, well, wait, I've got to be the only one in my league playing 2 Power 5s. I get where that makes a tough job harder. It just does.
It puts
even when it's a bad Maryland team or an average Maryland team,
it's still a Power 5 team.
It's still different.
Yeah,
it is.
And it puts you you begin with a disadvantage because of that, a bit of a disadvantage because of the scheduling. Now, again, I'm like you. I love it, right? As fans, we were giddy for the Maryland game, right?
I mean, that week coming in next year, starting with Pitt, I will be super engaged, excited about
and
playing
so will
Pitt
fans.
And the return of the backyard brawl.
Yeah.
Much like this year going into Maryland versus playing. I don't want to have to give an all due respect to anybody, but pick another team in there that you schedule a win and know you could get. So I get it. That is a really difficult decision to get an absolute black and white right or wrong on that. I don't think either are wrong. I think both are right, if that makes sense.
I think they should play a Power 5. I think they should play a Group of 5, and I think they should play an FCS. That's what I think they should do. If you're going to have 3. Caesar Sportsbook encourages you to download the app if you haven't. Super simple to do. And when you do, they will cover your first bets for up to $1,001. That's right. You heard it right. They'll cover you in free bets up to $1,001 if you lose on your first bet. And don't forget, when the Mountaineers play, so does Caesars, and they play big time. You place a point spread wager on the Mountaineers, and they will double your winnings if West Virginia covers or if they win it outright. You heard it. Caesars gives you a bonus worth double your net winnings. You can bet the spread with Caesars and win double. You must be 21. Offer valid in West Virginia only, and for new players, paid in bet credits. Terms, conditions apply. See Caesars.com/promos. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net. All games regulated by the West Virginia Lottery. Please play responsibly.
Tony, by the way, your station tube is more of a sinus thing than a hearing thing.
What?
Your eustachian tube. You referenced that in the beginning of the show. Eustachian tube is more of a sinus issue than an hearing ear issue.
What? Hey, Tony, Brett Hoppy. After the Mountaineers beat Kansas to become bowl eligible, I couldn't help but think how close this team was to 8-4-9-3 if only the ball would have bounced their way or kept possession against Maryland Tech, Oklahoma. Great to see Letty go over 1,000. Now, I just watched Eastern Kentucky lose to Radford by shooting poorly from 3. I wonder if it was because they played their best ball against the Mountaineers or just didn't have the same as much energy against the Radfords. I guess we'll find out soon if Radford's able to keep that same energy. They're here on Saturday. Great show. Keep up good work. Hot Rod in Woodbridge, Virginia.
Guess what? Oklahoma quarterback is in the transfer portal.
Yep, just announced last 15 minutes or so. Spencer Ratler. No surprise.
I listened to Toby Rowland's show. He's the play-by-play announcer at Oklahoma this morning, right when he went on the air. And they said in talking that one of the things that really PO'd Lincoln this year was the way that Oklahoma fans treated Spencer Ratler.
I can see that.
He became very, very upset by how they handled him. Here's the deal, man. You can't stay at a place anymore too long. And for Lincoln Riley, he looked at it and said, okay, I've done it, and anything now is not going to be good enough. That's one of the reasons why.
I say often in coaching searches, moves, et cetera, it's about timing. You can want to go someplace, and that thing doesn't open, right? Look no further than here. Bob Huggins didn't want to leave Kansas State when he did he?
But he had to.
But he had to, because that's when the West Virginia job was opening, and you don't know if that's going to pass you in the night. So much of it matters when it matches up. So the fact that they're going into a more difficult environment at the same time a brand and a job like USC opens, there aren't many of those opportunities, because what do you say many times? And what did you say at the beginning of this? How many jobs could Lincoln Riley leave for that would be better spots than where he was? He had a limited move, didn't he? NFL was probably the most likely move. So this was one of the few opportunities, and it happened to match up perfectly with a time in which his current job was getting more difficult, and he was able to get a better job for him overall.
Yeah,
makes all the sense in the world.
Sure it does.
By the way, Zach Evans also entering the transfer portal.
TCU running back.
TCU.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, we knew that was coming.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, they said that when we played them.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's not that. No, I'm not. I'm just saying, yeah, that's not a surprise. That's not a surprise. Zach, it's an interesting, if you go back and do a little research on his recruitment, pretty interesting. 3 guys. I know there's a concern about relying on just 2 guys scoring, someone that always scouts the teams that we play. I find seldom do you have more than a couple double-digit scores. Like most teams, we have 2 and a couple of averages right around. We've got several guys to get hot. We have several guys able to get hot on a given night. I believe we'll be fine. I trust Hugs to get it done. Have a blessed day.
Trust the Hugs.
Trust the bear. You got some situations, don't you be concerned. Just trust the bear. You know, it's Cyber Monday.
Yeah.
I think Hugs missed an opportunity.
What?
He should, he's an influencer. He should probably go sell that necklace. Keeps popping out of his shirt during games. Right? Got that flying WV next. I think that's what he should be doing. Center? Probably be a good e-commerce opportunity for Hugs.
Why would he want to sell it?
Well, I mean, people are looking at it. People are commenting about it all the time that he's got this gold chain on. So why not say, hey, sell some of them bad boys? Seth in Williamstown. 3 guys. Glad you enjoyed the cupcakes. So it was Seth in Williamstown.
I didn't get one.
Did we have cupcakes?
Yeah. Well, here's the dealio. They came about like 2 in the afternoon. There was no name as to where they came from. Put them in the kitchen. Had no idea where they were from. Put them in the refrigerator. They were there for a couple days.
Always happens. Only when he can't avoid it.
He says, guys, glad you enjoyed the cupcakes. If any of them are missing, call the Marietta UPS store. The ladies there were keeping one eye on that box the whole time. They're from a bakery in Beverly, Ohio, which still technically is in the Mid-Ohio Valley, just on the other side of the river. As for football, the Senator and Coach Hunter discussed what bowl matchup they'd like to see based on predictions. I'd like to get Tony's take as well as the opinion of one Harvey Holbert Kercheval III.
A game you can win.
Well, and that's why my prediction, my hope went by the wayside. One of the predictions had West Virginia and Rutgers. And I couldn't believe I was saying it, but I talked myself into saying, hey, give me a little Rutgers.
Did you really? Yeah.
Give me a little Rutgers in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. Line up, beat them 26 straight times, whatever it is.
Well, they go into that game.
Line up, beat Shiano, made us park in the mud, all those that one time there. I'd like to just line up, beat them.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They lost and I think only won 5 games.
They lost?
I think they only got 5 games.
They lost. They were 5-6. Maryland's 5-6. They got absolutely pistol slapped. They got like run out by like Maryland, like 40-something to like 16.
That was an odd moment for me on Sportsline, though. I found myself saying I wanted to play Rutgers.
I mean, you're not going to have just play a game you can win. Honestly, I think that's the biggest thing. I don't think you're going to have a huge fan. You'll have some fans that'll go, but don't match up against. Don't get overmatched in this thing.
Hey, guys, I was just listening to the Kansas preview. You guys were talking about nicknames. Hoppy then mentioned that he doesn't know how many times he's had to explain his name. And he got me to thinking, what is your name, Hoppy? Well, the previous texter gave you his name. His name is Harvey Holbert Kercheval III,
right,
named after his dad.
Right.
Was also Harvey. So that's a third, so grandfather was
grandfather,
also.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then my father, when my son was born, my dad called and said, so is this Harvey the Fourth? I said, no, his name is Ben. Not going there.
You didn't go there?
No, did not. I was never crazy. I mean, as an adult, I wish I'd been called Harvey. I've just never been called. A few people, you've called me Harvey, Tony.
Yes,
and Dale Miller calls me Harvey sometimes.
Yeah.
But now I think I wish I were called Harvey.
That was like
might be a tad late for that.
You talk about.
I thought if I ever relocated to some place, like if I retired and moved to Florida where nobody knew me,
No, you wouldn't.
I would just say I'm Harvey.
No, you wouldn't.
You don't think?
No, you would not. Not at this point. No, you would not.
That'd be really.
That'd be an impossible switch.
You think? I mean, if nobody knows me and I introduce like
You know yourself. You
I don't
know
think
yourself as Hoppy.
Yeah.
You couldn't make that switch.
I
don't know if-
I couldn't make this.
I don't know if you'd be comfortable with it. I don't know if you'd be comfortable with it.
How about Harv?
You're not
Yeah.
You're not a Harv. Wouldn't
You're
work.
not a Harv. You're not
Wouldn't
a Harv.
work.
You're a Hoppy.
Give me the no. If that's a yes/no bet, will you change your name back to your original name? Give me the no. I think the no's minus 500 there.
Matt and Tulsa. 2 questions. Lincoln Riley leaves OU for USC. OU fans label him disloyal, dishonest, and a coward. OU and Texas collude with ESPN to invite themselves into the SEC, screw over dozens of institutions in the process. OU called it serving the wider interests of the state of Oklahoma. Have you seen worse hypocrisy in college football than this?
You mean there's hypocrisy in college football, college sports? I can't imagine.
Secondly,
Shocking, I tell you.
OU will now lose most of its top recruits, maybe even Caleb Williams. I don't feel bad for them, but if I did this in business, I'd get sued. Is there nothing protecting institutions anymore from a coach using one school's resources to recruit for another institution? Matt and Tulsa enjoying probably too much all of the Sooner tears being cried around me.
I'm telling you, I've said this before, there are practices in college athletics that if you tried to do in business, you would be A, out of business, and B, you'd be in court.
Yeah, this is this is the Wild West. It truly is the Wild West. And that's, that's the problem with it. We oftentimes talk about a college football commissioner. The game needs a college football commissioner. No, it'll never happen because everyone is working for their best interest, as we saw with Oklahoma and Texas. So you'll never get an agreement to even have a commissioner that you would pay attention or listen to. I mean, these professional sports teams like the NFL, they got a strong-armed commissioner, right? And when David Stern was in the NBA, that's a strong-armed commissioner. You'd never be able to get that in college because just the different philosophies, the different cultures. So no, man, this is crazy world. That's what this is.
I've said many times, probably ad nauseum for the listeners, it's nearly impossible to get consensus on campus in big decisions. You're seeing it here. You're seeing it with the Oklahoma situation. There clearly was not consensus on that particular move. So it's nearly impossible to get it in a league and then try and do it nationally. You just can't. Too much self-interest for individuals and for institutions to worry about the greater good. There's your problem.
And along that line, Michigan State gives Mel Tucker a $95 million contract. Now, that has reverberations throughout the college landscape.
Sure.
These other agents now
That's
they go,
the new standard.
I go, wait a second. Mel Tucker? Like, how many college football playoffs has he been in? My guy's been in college football playoff. My guy's won his league. How many leagues has Mel Tucker won?
College football playoffs. Just how about above 500 seasons?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Why don't you start there?
Okay, so just like so that deal, the Franklin deal to a lesser extent, because that was only $75 million, they just screw themselves. This is the same group of people that when COVID was going on were just like face first going like, we're on a death spiral financially. And they go out there and give this money. All those deals strengthen the student athletes. That strengthens the student athletes, and their demands will become stronger and stronger as time goes on. And if any administrator says, just can't do it money-wise, they're going to get the double bird so fast that, oh, really, you can't? Oh, really? So that just that hurts college administrators and schools because of those deals. And you have that craziness go on. You've got no continuity. As a result, it's crazy time.
Agreed. Can't argue with him.
I hope no wives that are being forced to listen to this have called us idiots or clowns during this episode. What do you think, Brad?
Tough year for the wives demographic with us. We finished below 500 in the wives demographic division.
But I tell you what we do.
Did not have a good year.
I tell you what we did
Retool.
do. I tell you what we did do.
Transfer portal.
We're pretty doggone strong when it comes to hiring college soccer coaches. I said Hoppy. Seriously, Hoppy. One of your great moves of all time. I was
happened during this show.
I was going to go back and find the episode because it was a Friday morning after a Thursday night Mountaineer game. That's why we were taping. And he's on the phone getting Dan Stratford hired at WV.
When he gets up and leaves the set, it's pretty important. A couple things may be happening. There's really only two options.
Exactly. And congratulations to the Mountaineers. They're in the Elite Eight. Unbelievable run. And
talk about stressful. Oh my gosh. Penalty kicks to win the one game and then
102nd minute against Tulsa.
2 overtimes.
That's fantastic. That's awesome.
It
awesome.
is.
And then congratulations to Reed Sunahara, the WVU volleyball team. First time in program history going to the NCAAs. And ironically, the team that they had to beat and sweep was TCU. TCU's coach was West Virginia's coach. She left West Virginia to go to TCU. Reed got Jill and knocked her off. And as a result, Mountaineers are in the NCAA tournament. That's awesome.
It is.
Good stuff. Real good stuff. All right. You guys good?
All good.
Great.
Yeah.
So we're going to come back Thursday. We'll talk about the Bellarmine game. We'll talk about anything else shaking in football, and we'll preview Darius Nichols' return as Darius comes back on Saturday. So we'll do that show on Thursday. Three Guys Before the Game brought to us by Caesars Sportsbook. Download, get started, risk-free bet up to $1,001 in free bets. By Comax Business Systems, they're there to help your business. Don't put yourself at risk and have the biggest bum out of your business life when someone goes in there and blows up all your computer intel. Don't let it happen. They'll do a free assessment and let you know what's up. By Burdette Camping, only warranty forever RV dealer in all of West Virginia. Visit them, BurdetteCamping.com. And by West Virginia Game Changers, supporting and encouraging young people throughout West Virginia to build healthy, addiction-free lives. You can help our West Virginia families, children, becoming a game changer. Go to wvgamechanger.com. Our producer for this episode, Jonathan Taylor County, Tyler Consolidated Kennedy. Thanks to him, we're out. Three Guys Before the Game, episode 333, Bullbound is complete. See ya. Thanks for listening.